we go. Lights go off. Race number 1. Superbike is underway, and a great launch from your pole sitter.
And how about JD Beach? JD Beach, straight from the Super Sport Championship, jumps on this attack. R1 and is leading off the bat, Greg. Oh! Garrett Gerlach goes down in turn 1, Greg. Oh, there we go. Josh Herrin down.
Oh, no.
Josh Herrin down.
From 11 to the win, Cambobier, race number 1, victorious. To the line they come, and it will be Tony Elias.
Oh, man.
It's time for the 2019 MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Superbike Championship. It's the Suzuki Championship at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of round 1. My name is Greg White, standing next to Jason Pridmore, who's won 2 titles at this level. Now Jason, we're getting ready for the EBC Brakes Superbike race. And I'm gonna tell you something. If yesterday's race is an indication of what's going to happen this year, it's going to be off the chain the whole season.
Well, we had a lot of different looks at the lead yesterday. The 2 Yosh boys obviously were battling up front. Cameron's got to come from the 4th row again, and we know what he did yesterday with that. So, well, I think that at any moment there could be 4 or 5 guys battling for the lead, so it's going to get exciting again today.
Yeah, and the question is Tony Elias going to make the same mistakes he made yesterday? No chance of that at all.
Yeah.
But if you're wondering, hey, I didn't see yesterday, then let's get into the race highlights right now.
That's right. Yesterday, Greg, we saw Garrett Gerlach take his first pole position, but it was JD Beach on the attack Yamaha coming from the 2nd row, leading into turn 1 in what was his first Superbike race in 7 years. But it wasn't too long till he was overhauled by 3 of the fast guys, including Garrett Gerlach, who was on pole, but 3 laps in, he was in the gravel in turn 1, wondering how he can change things up for race 2 as Josh Herrin then started to fight with his teammate Tony Elias for the lead. Now this was a pattern that we saw. These 2 guys went back and forth, and every time they did this, the pack right behind, battling for 3rd, was getting closer. As Josh Herrin tipped into turn 10 with about 6 to go, he asked a little bit too much of that front tire and tipped over, and it allowed Cameron Beaubier to actually close right onto the back of Tony Elias. And then these 2 guys, we've seen these battles for the last 3 years between these 2. With 3 to go, Cameron Beaubier outbrakes Tony down into turn 10. And as they came up over the top of the hill, out of turn 10A, it looked like Tony had an idea to go up underneath, but he outbroke himself a little bit. You see that rear wheel hopping. He was lucky to get any points out of this as he went off the track, and it allowed Cameron Beaubier to come from the 4th row after a day of frustration yesterday to win the opening round of this MotoAmerica season, and a very close fight to the end that saw Tony Elias beat JD Beach line by 1/1000th of a second.
Incredible race and a good save by Tony Elias to get himself 20 points. Let's take a look at these results. So it is Beaubier, Elias, and Beach. Matthew Sculps in 4th spot. David Anthony, Kyle Wyman, Jake Lewis, Jake Gagne, Cam Peterson, your top 9 in this one. And as we look on down the list, great result for Jeff May in 10th. Max Flinders collects a nice haul of 5 points. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more coming at you from Road Atlanta, so don't go anywhere. When you go to the Dunlop dealer or go to Trackside Service and get yourself a brand new Dunlop tire, have you ever thought to yourself, I wonder what research and development goes into that tire? Well, we're here in Buffalo, New York at Dunlop's manufacturing facility to answer that very question.
We've always prided ourselves in designing tires for this market, for the U.S. market.
There's really not a start and a stop to our development process. It's kind of an ongoing loop. Having development here in the U.S. allows me to accelerate that development process. If I show up at a test at Thunder Hill, at pre-season test, all that rider feedback, it's like an IV. It goes right into the development process. Everything that I was working on takes that into consideration. There's only so long riders will wait once you give them a taste of something better. Any tire that we make available at MotoAmerica is something that every club racer has the ability to buy.
Today's coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the 2018 MotoAmerica Championship. If you're new to motorcycle road racing, MotoAmerica racing in particular, one of the things you'll hear us talk about a lot is going to be tires. Where the rubber meets the road defines how motorcycles are built. It defines lap times, how people qualify, and it certainly can define how race results end up. You've got to learn how to manage your tires, especially in dry, hot conditions. But for more on Dunlop tires, let's go to the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, with more.
The weather here in North Georgia can be unpredictable. 1 minute the sun is shining, and the next, crazy rainstorms and gallons of water on the track. Unrideable conditions for our normal Dunlop slicks. The answer to a wet track? A rain tire. Rain tires consist of soft rubber with deep grooves to wick away the water and find traction on the asphalt. They're so good, riders can even drag their knees in the right conditions. Rain tires are also a different construction from slicks, requiring more air pressure in the rear tire. And remember, if you ever get to run a rain tire, Dunlop recommends no tire warmers. Just put these reins on and hit the track.
All right, more coverage from Road Atlanta continues when we come back. Jason Pridmore sits down with Jake Gagne in his return to MotoAmerica competition.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Garrett Gerloff and I'm here to tell you why the Yamaha R1 is my favorite motorcycle in the whole world. For me, this has been the best feeling bike that I've ever ridden. It has so many just really nice characteristics for a rider. It's really stable and easygoing, you know. It doesn't want to try to buck me off every time. This seems to be the perfect combination. The Yamaha engineers did their homework when they came out with this new generation Yamaha R1. And it's what gives me the lap time. It's what helps me do what I do. The less effort that you have to put into getting lap times, the more easy it is for us, the more consistent we can be. And at the end of the day, that's what wins races, is consistent fast lap times and conserving tires and things like that, that at the end of the day is what can get you on the top of the podium. It has really smooth power delivery and a lot of power. And yeah, I think those are the biggest things about the Yamaha that are my favorite and that really differentiate it from the other bikes on the track.
MotoAmerica president Wayne Rainey didn't make the trip to Georgia for round one. The three-time 500 GP champ was honored last night in Carson, California at the Trailblazers banquet. He was given the Dick Hammer Award alongside lifelong friend Eddie Lawson. The Dick Hammer Award showcases riders that have displayed a career of drive, determination, and desire.
Wayne Rainey.
Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of MotoAmerica as we set the stage for the EBC Brakes Superbike class. Jason, we wanted to talk about one rider that, well, let's just face it. He went to World Superbike and he's back in the United States. It's Jake Gagne from California. And when we heard that Jake's coming back to the States, I was super excited, but then a bit of a hiccup.
Yeah, of course, we know how good of a motocrosser he actually is. Jake's a professional level motocrosser and he uses it as training during the off season. And of course, he's another rider yet again who's kind of gotten hurt on a motocross bike. Unfortunately, he didn't even fall when he crashed. He just landed off a jump incorrectly, and it broke the tib fib right at the base down by his ankle joint.
And you are familiar with that injury because
Sadly.
you actually are standing on it right now.
Yeah, no,
so
exactly.
Tell us a little bit about tib fib and how it would affect you on the motorcycle.
Well, specifically where his brake is, down at the bottom, you know, when you're wrestling these bikes around this racetrack the way he is, you can't use your feet and your ankles quite the way you'd like to. And when you go up through those S's at the top of the hill through turn 2, 3, 4, you're using your feet a lot. More importantly, when you come out of turn 5, it's accelerating up a hill and out of there, and he can't get his feet in a spot that he can help himself accelerate.
Well, Jason had an opportunity to talk to Jake Gagne on Friday, and we wanted to roll you a little bit of that interview. So here's Jason and Jake.
So, Jake, I think, first off, welcome back to MotoAmerica.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be, feels like I'm here at Road Atlanta. It feels like it's been almost years, you know. It's only been 2 years since I've been here, but a lot of things have happened since then. It's good to get back, see everybody's faces. I've only been here for a few hours, but I've got kind of nonstop catching up with people and stuff, so it's been awesome to see a bunch of familiar faces.
Coming into it, obviously into Atlanta to start with the injury, new bike, new team, no testing, what kind of expectations do you put on the weekend?
Yeah, our expectations with, this weekend, and, we got Texas already next weekend.
Yep.
We're just taking it lap by lap. I'm just going to try to learn as much as I can, and I'm just worried about myself and the bike and my team, and we're just doing our program, and wherever we end up, we don't really know, but it's going to be, it's going to be tough. My foot is going to be tough, especially in the races, and But I'm going to do what we can, and our whole goal is just learn and not do anything crazy and build, and step by step. And a couple rounds in, I think once everything starts coming together and I start feeling a little better, we can kind of start pushing. And like I said, I think we can surprise some people.
How are you different coming back from Europe now? How are you different coming into this MotoAmerica season? Are you different mindsets?
Yeah, I mean, I'm different you're different every year, but the amount of learning and processes and things that I went through last year, good and bad, I feel like I had a lot more to learn, a lot more to gain. There's a lot of data going into my brain last year, and it was all good, Things about how to approach a race weekend, how to set up a bike, and just how to stay calm under pressure. And there's so many things that to get around a motorcycle fast, and it's not all to do with the bike. And there's a lot of mental things, and you got to be smooth. You got to have your program together and be comfortable, and we're gonna do that.
Yeah, well, I think I speak for a lot of people that we're really stoked that you're back here racing in our series again. And I think there's going to be some expectations, because I think that we all expect you to be up front as the year goes. So best of luck, continue to heal up, and we're pulling for you.
Right on, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
We're inching closer and closer to the start of the EBC Superbike race. Stay with us on Fox Sports as our continuing coverage of MotoAmerica happens after this. All right, so the stage has been set. Garrett Gerloff, your pole sitter, looking for a little redemption from yesterday. Thank you so much for joining us on MotoAmerica Live Plus. We appreciate you checking us out, and make sure you tell everyone, all your friends, to subscribe. After the tremendous amount of coverage being provided for you here from the Suzuki Championship at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Today's coverage is brought to you by EBC Brakes, the official sponsor of the 2019 MotoAmerica Superbike Series. Welcome back to this fantastic racetrack. Jason Pridmore, tell us about it.
Yeah, Greg, a lot of elevation. This is the Dunlop track map up through turn 1, turn 2, 3, 4. Very fast, flicking left to right and back to left again, going down the hill into turn 5. Kind of the signature turn here, I would think. At Road Atlanta to turn 6, you're braking back uphill into the slowest corner, turn 7, onto the biggest back straight that we have here. Down into turn 10. Up over the hill, where we've seen some action already down into turn 12 this morning and in yesterday's race. Very technical track in some spots. Some places are more flowy, but all in all, a rider favorite.
Love it here, and so do these Superbike racers. Let's get down to the third member of our broadcast team. Hannah's on the grid.
I'm here with Kyle Wyman. Kyle, yesterday was your first race on the Ducati. How are you liking the bike so far, and what are your expectations looking ahead to the rest of the season?
Well, the bike is amazing. It's this Panigale V4R is just absolutely something special. I feel just really grateful to be able to ride this beautiful machine. We've got a lot of work to do still. It's really foreign to me. Feels like I'm riding somebody else's bike at the moment. But as things come, we're just going to be patient, chip away at it, and see if we can't put this Lucas Oil Ducati towards the front. So yeah. We'll see. The expectations the rest of the year should be good.
Thanks, Kyle. Best of luck.
JC's got to get used to saying that. Ducati, Ducati,
You heard him
Ducati.
stutter for a minute, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you saw just over his shoulder, Cameron Beaubier back there behind him. So I think that, he's going to have to come from fourth row. But for Kyle, just finishing these races is such a big deal because he's getting new data. He's got a good team around him. We've said it before. But wait till that bike starts feeling like his own bike. I think that's going to make a big difference for him, Greg. It's hard to go from one brand straight to another, especially that one, because nobody's got any time on those bikes.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see if he can equal or better that result. Let's get back down to Hannah, who's still on the grid working it.
Now, do you think that you have the pace to stay up front?
Yeah, I mean, for sure I have the pace. You know, it kind of wasn't the best having to ride in the wet this morning. I wish we could have had some dry time, but I feel good. You know, I had a lot of good, consistent laps earlier in the weekend, and I'm feeling good. Just want to get into a rhythm and try to push these guys a little bit, but we'll see. You never know what's going to happen, obviously. So.
Thanks, Garrett. Good luck out there.
All right, let's get to our Suzuki track hotspots. Jason, take it away.
Look at this. This is the big run from the bottom of turn 1 all the way up. And what you can't see in this view, even though it's gorgeous, is you don't know how elevated it is till you actually go over there or ride it. I know with some fans up there in turn 1 to 2. This is the very bottom of the track, and you head straight up this big hill into a very blind turn 2, which is all of the S's, and it takes you down, as you see here at the beginning. After all, you go through the S's through 5, 6. This is turn 7 here, Greg. This is the one that leads us on to the back straightaway. It's a hot spot for me because it's really how well you can get out of this. It's going to determine how you get down the back straightaway, whether you're behind people and can draft them, or whether you're leading on the last lap and what your strategy might be, because when you get to the end of the straightaway, as you can see here, turn 10 and turn 10A are very, very slow. We got a lot of fans up on the left-hand side of the track there. But all this little area here, we saw action. This is where Josh Herron tipped off yesterday, as you see in our pictures. It's very easy to lose the front of the bike going down there. Then up over the top of the hill into turn 12. I like it because it gives us a lot of action on the last lap, especially if we've got a big group. Yesterday, Cameron Beaubier did not have that as he came across the line. But the battle between Tony Elias and JD Beach was really close. It's a short run from that last corner to there.
All right, we'll take a break. The race is coming at us real soon. Don't go anywhere on Fox Sports. Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of MotoAmerica. We are at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. It's round number 1, getting ready for EBC Brakes Superbike race number 2. Our onboard camera shots. Jason Pridmore. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
This is how they qualified. Let's take a look at the Dunlop starting grid on this one, JP.
Yeah, Garrett Gerloff, first pole position of his career here in Atlanta, first round. Tony Elias second. Matthew Skoltz, tremendous job by him yesterday. He's going to start on the outside of our front row. Then we've got JD Beach, Josh Herron, and Jake Lewis, who is actually going to be able to take his grid spot today. Yesterday, he fought really hard. Greg did fast lap at the end of the race as well, I believe. The fact that he was in the race yesterday was good after some of the problems he had. David Anthony, 5th place yesterday for David Anthony. Jeff May, so good to see Jeff around. Kyle Wyman, as we saw on that new Ducati, is going to be filling out row 3. Then Jake Gagne. Cameron Beaubier, defending champ and race winner yesterday, and then Cameron Peterson next to him. Then we got Flinders, Samuel Trepanier, and Sam Vertorico rounding out the back row. I think when you look at this race, Greg, one of the things you're going to have to look at is the tire, and I know you have a little bit of information on that one.
Yeah, the big news was that the extra soft tire that Dunlop brought, some riders had a bit of an issue with it yesterday, so Dunlop sent out a bulletin, a competition bulletin, saying that those tires are off the table. Let's get down to our Cycle Gear last-minute report with Hannah.
Speaking of tires, you guys, obviously everyone is now on that soft rear. I was looking at the front tires, however, and 2 of our front row guys, Tony Elias and Garrett Gerloff, are on an extra soft front, but I noticed Josh Herron's on a soft front, so keep an eye out for that, and maybe that'll affect, you know, the standings and how the race pans out.
Well, Hannah, you bring up a good point. The 2 Yosh bikes are on different front tires. I think that, Greg, we watched that race yesterday, and you and I looked at each other a lot in that race, watching Herron and Tony beating up on each other a little bit. I feel that Tony thought he had a little bit of pace, and he wasn't able to kind of get around or away from Herron, and they just battled with each other a lot. You know, this early in the season, again, hard to talk about championship, but when you got the number 1 plate on row 4, if these guys could play a little bit nice if they get good starts and try to get away. But I also believe Garrett Gerloff, obviously, he's going to be right in the mix of that as well. I feel that when you can take advantage of a situation, if you can, this is the weekend right now to do it, even though it's the first one of the year. Cameron Beaubier coming from row 4.
Suzuki weather update has it perfect conditions for motorcycle road racing, 76 degrees. Not bad on the humid side, and barely a nice gentle breeze that's blowing through the wind of all of these great fans here at Road Atlanta. We're on our warm-up lap.
It's perfect, isn't it?
It's really good.
I mean,
yeah.
it is like these
yeah.
are the most perfect conditions you can hope for, and I'm really happy that the rain stayed away, and we're gonna have a good dry race.
All right, Jason, you were talking about Tony Elias a minute ago. I had a chance to sit down and chat with him earlier on today, and we were talking about it. And he just said, look, I had a plan going into the race, and nothing worked. And it started with his bike getting stuck into third gear. Remember, we came back from commercial break, got the race started. He was off his motorcycle trying to manually get that thing into first gear. And then, of course, you know, the fact that he felt like he had about a second pace more on his teammate, but Josh Herron was racing him up, and then Garrett Gerloff crashed, which also messed him up. I mean, it was just like one of those race days where he was like just absolutely baffled. So he's planning on a plan and sticking to that plan, and it working. Oh, Garrett,
Does Garrett have, it looks like Garrett
he
has
taken a rock
on the, before the races even started, and you can see Tony coming out of the last corner now. But Garrett's got a big hole in the windscreen, so that obviously happened. And we've seen a lot of gravel on the track just from previous crashes and so on. Shouldn't affect him too much. You just hope that it doesn't continue to crack as he heads down that back straightaway.
There are optional bubbles, windscreen bubbles that you can get. Oh, it looks like Matthew Skoltz on the Westby bike is trying to get something to work there. Of course, new team, but there are optional
Herron's
windscreens.
doing something. He's pointing something. Might be a tear off or something that Herron sees on the grid.
All right, here we go. MotoAmerica, EBC Brakes, race number 2 from Road Atlanta. Yellow flags are flying.
Jake Gagne's got an issue. Jake Gagne has an issue.
Yellow flags fly.
Bike is stalled.
All right, he says he's good to go now. All right, here we go. Race number 2. Watch those red lights. Good launch from Garrett Gerloff and Tony Elias.
Look at JD Beach again, Greg. From the second row, JD's trying to lead it into turn 1, and he will, as Tony Elias just jumps in right behind him. Garrett Gerloff's going to be third. Josh Herron gets pushed wide by Skoltz as they head up the hill into turn 2 on the opening lap. Looks like Jake Lewis back there in 6th.
So JD Beach, Attack Performance, Estenson Racing, Yamaha, doing quick work, trying to get the break again.
And again, Greg, what changes did they make overnight? We didn't get to see these Superbikes go out this morning because of the weather. The rain had come last night, wet the track. None of these guys got a chance to really go see if any setup changes they wanted to make had worked. So JD might be riding on something obviously a little bit different than yesterday, and we'll be able to really start to tell in certain sectors of the track. It looks like Cameron Beaubier has made quick work of most of the field again, Greg. He's got himself already into 6th place as they head down the back straightaway.
The list of changes, by the way, the list of changes for JD Beach were electronics, fork, and shock.
Yeah, just everything.
Just
everything.
Yeah. So experimental time right now is Tony Elias on the 24. Goes deep into turn number 10.
And same with Josh Herron. He fell out on that bike yesterday. He didn't even get to go on it this morning. This is literally his first flying lap on that bike. So JD Beach going to come across the line of lead as we come out of the last corner. Tony Elias second, Garrett Gerloff in third.
Gerloff using the corner speed of that Yamaha R1, the momentum taking him across the track. Here's Matthew Skoltz. Skoltz and his team taking an educated guess. Now, with the sophistication of the electronics now on the Westby Racing Yamaha, Matthew Skoltz has a choice of 3 different traction control maps, basically, okay? He started on one where they actually took traction control out because he felt like that the TC was holding his motor back yesterday. He has a second map that's kind of halfway between yesterday and the new map today, and he has yesterday's if he needs to switch.
Yeah, so if the traction control gets a little obtrusive to where the rider doesn't feel like they can get the power to the ground, or they're getting the power to the ground, they're opening up the throttle more than they want, but the traction control is kicking in a little bit too much, then he'll have some different maps to go to. And that can also change as tire wear and things go like that. They can start to change and mess with some of that stuff a little bit. But again, the map that he's on right now, he didn't get to try this morning. Look, Josh Herron was trying to sneak underneath him as they go down, and he did. Josh Herron was able to make that pass on map as they head down the hill.
Second place out the back. Great onboard shot of Garrett Gerloff. You see his body position, the way he works that throttle. By the way, Cameron Beaubier is joined right behind Skoltz, who's now relegated back as Josh Herron took that position. So from 11th on the grid again, Beaubier trying to make it to the front.
Here comes Tony. He's going to try to go up underneath him as they go down into turn 1. And what he does by doing that, Greg, he makes a very early commitment. Let's see if he can keep the bike tight. He does. He makes a very early commitment to get down there. So essentially what he's doing is he's making the track shorter And in turn one there, it's a third gear turn on these bikes. So he gets that back shift done and goes straight to the apex in the corner to try to beat JD Beach to the apex, and that's how he's able to make that pass. We've seen him do it a number of times over the years.
Yoshimura Suzuki factory racing machine out front. Tony Elias, there's his teammate Josh Herron in his second race on that bike. His debut season on that team. As Tony Elias now working his 4th season.
I talked to a couple of people this morning and asked about how Cameron's tire looked, and they said Cameron's number 1, he's usually really good on tires anyways. Number 2, his tire looked really good yesterday. His ability now, I think, obviously with his experience, 3-time Superbike champion and so on, you see JD getting close to the edge. Cameron's probably just going to sit there now. There's none of these guys are really going away, and you can see Josh Herron look like he went underneath JD Beach.
Looks like
as
JD
they
got
head down the
swallowed
hill.
up.
Yes,
he'll
he
go
did.
From 2nd to 4th, just like that.
Oh, Matthew Skolt's trying to go underneath JD as well.
JD getting beaten up right now. It looked like for a second Beaubier was going to try to sneak on up the inside of 10B.
Yep, JD's trying to come back. Nope. The thing is that when you get a 3 or 4 bike draft down that back straightaway, it's so easy to get drawn in there. It looked like Matthew had a little bit of that as he started tipping in to turn 10. But look what's happened at the front. Tony is trying to break up the field a little bit. 25.6, 25.6. He told me last night that he felt like he could get into the low, mid-25s and break up the field. He was looking back quite a bit to see where Cameron was. You could see Matthew's in deep. He kind of had to let the brake off just to kind of go up underneath JD.
JD tried to dirt track, kind of squared it up. Tried to square it up a little bit, but Skolt's able to hold on. So it's 24, Tony Elias, 31, Garrett Gerloff, number 2, Josh Herron behind him, number 11, Matthew Skoltz. That's that black and gold bike in the background. And then you have JD Beach on the 95, and 1 is Cameron Beaubier.
See what happens here, though. These two guys, you can see just the tiniest of gaps opening up, can't you? And it's a matter of now, can they run these times lap after lap? Especially through the first couple sectors. Matthew Skoltz with the fastest first sector. They're all very, very close, though.
Listen to the RPMs on that onboard.
Yeah, and it's so good that we've got these camera shots. This is out the back of Tony's bike, looking back at Garrett Gerloff. Now, if they could just kind of, what this is going to do ultimately, in my opinion, is it's going to make Cameron kind of start to get the hurry up. And there you go. He's past JD as they go into that final corner. He can start to see a trend already, can Cameron, that these guys are trying to get away. JD Beach is going to pull right back up alongside of him, though, and try to go past him as they go into turn 1, and he's going to be able to do it. Now, this is where that starting from the 4th row gets harder, because now we're seeing all the way back. Cameron Beaubier goes 25.1 on that lap. But he's, what is he, Greg? He's almost 2 seconds behind the front-running guys. 25.4 to 25.2 for Garrett Gerloff. So Cameron's going to have to start to go through some faster guys. When you try to go through faster guys, what can happen to your tires? You start to wear them out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Everybody is on the soft, not the extra soft. And that was just a cautionary move by Dunlop. A lot of the riders had the one dry session on Friday. A lot of them used this tire. So there was
Josh Herron runs wide in turn 7. Sorry to interrupt you, Greg.
So Herron up and out. So now all of a sudden Cam Beaubier gets a position back. So Herron with a miscue.
Keep in mind, it literally is the 4th lap that Herron's done on that bike from his crash yesterday. I mean, he's going to hang in there, and that might be the best thing that could have happened to Josh right there, because he'll be able to close that gap back up to those 3 in front. But now we got those other 2 guys kind of. They have a tiniest of tiniest brakes. Matthew Skoltz is the next guy that's going to try to catch back up to them.
That was off Beaubier. Through the final corner. Skoltz having a great run at it on the 11. So Beaubier this time around will go 25.6 after setting the fastest lap of the race the lap before, with Tony Elias setting his personal fast lap, 25.443. So Tony trying to do what he loves to do, which is just go ahead and check out a little, see who's got the pace.
Bike looks solid at the top of the S's. Garrett's doing a tremendous job too. You know, Garrett didn't get those laps. The worst part about crashing early in a race is you don't get to come back with a lot of feedback or a lot of data for your crew. That said, his bike has looked tremendously solid all weekend long. And the other advantage is that nobody else really got to go try any setup changes that they made. So Garrett knew what he had underneath him. And Matthew Skoltz, 33.4 in that first split, has now reeled in and passed Garrett. Garrett had a mistake. Garrett, is that body work, Greg? It looks like he's got some body work on the right side of his bike. I might be wrong. Look on the right side. Yep.
Yeah, hand in
Garrett
the air.
Gerloff has a problem. Man, he has some bad luck.
Is it a fender maybe,
It's
Jake?
a fender or something is hanging off the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to kick it off. I mean, what is, it's a fender.
It is.
The fender
It's the
has
front
come
fender
off.
has come off on the
And we
right
just gotta
side.
hope that that thing doesn't.
Yeah, the one
that
thing you
is
don't
so
want
bad.
is it for.
He's trying to rip it off, and there's no way. Now he's off the track, and yeah, there's no way. Man, it would have been so much better had he just pulled in, and they could have got that thing off, and he could have got back out. Now he's got to do another full lap with it like that, and it's going to be impossible. Yeah,
He's trying to get it off
how's
on that
that
side.
for
It's
luck? That is just horrible luck for Garrett Gerloff. I could see it when he tipped into turn 7. Something happened.
The thing I worry the most, Jason, is that if that comes off at full lean angle and gets under the rear tire.
So bad. And now the problem is that actually created a gap back. Matthew Schultz is taken to the fight, though. Look at him, 25-1 that last lap by for Matthew Schultz, 25-3 for Tony Elias. I had a really good discussion with Matthew before the start of this race today, and this tire change might make a difference. You can see Garrett, he's still going, and the guys behind him have got to be scared too, because you can see that. And Dave Anthony goes up underneath him, or tried to.
Garrett Gerloff still out there racing. Now, there is procedures for this. If MotoAmerica deems this is an unsafe,
they will, Greg.
Yeah,
There's no
unsafe
question about
situation, they'll give him what they call the meatball flag.
Black flag. They'll just flag. He just needs to try to get himself down that back straightaway and get into the pits. He's not going to be able, I don't think he's going to be able to break it off. That's the thing.
There's his crew.
Yeah, it's just brutal. I mean, here's a guy that literally has been setting the pace all weekend long. He's had a perfect weekend until the races come. Matthew Schultz running down our leader now as he goes 25-1 to 25-5. JD Beach 25-1 as well. Cameron Beaubier 25-5. Cameron was he 2 seconds back? Greg still got plenty of time in this race to try to reel these leaders back in.
And then it's Josh Herron in 5th, Jake Lewis in 6th, Jake Gagne in 7th, Kyle Wyman up to 8th, David Anthony in 9th, Cameron Peterson in 10th, Jeff May 11th as Gerloff continues to slide down the board.
Oh, Garrett went around again. I mean, he's just got to pull in, Greg. I mean, literally, he should have pulled in when it started happening on the first lap, because these are all points that are going away. Every time he does a lap, what did he do that time? By minute 40. So he's just given.
Yeah, with 14 to go.
Yeah, you're giving the field all these points right now.
Had his crew grab it, rip it off. They're waiting for him.
They're sitting
and
there
then
waiting
gone back
for him.
out.
Yeah, that's for me. That's what Garrett's got to think to himself. Okay, this thing's not falling off. I got to get to the pits. Let my guys. Everybody knows it's happening. He's got to get to the pits.
Yeah, and we're getting word that the meatball flag is out for him, so we'll see that in a couple of corners.
Look at it. So now he's actually stopped and he's trying to rip it off. There you go. He's got it off. So this is going to be up at the top of turn 2. He's pulled way off the track. So I know where he's at up there. There's no risk of anything.
I wonder if they gave him a meatball flag, if they require him to come in after doing that.
Yeah,
that's a weird situation.
The problem is solved, though, now, as
Yeah.
far as that goes. You know, MotoAmerica officials are going to look at that. They're going to see that the problem is solved, and he's going to be back on his way.
A look at the pit board information that riders get from their crew. There's no communication from rider to crew other than pit board. Cameron Beaubier just does the fastest lap of the race, chasing down JD Beach, a 24.9, as Schultz continues to keep Tony Elias honest at this point. Look at the pressure that the South African is putting on the Spaniard. They're getting after it today.
I asked him, I said, is this rear tire change for you? Is it an advantage? He said it's a tremendous advantage he felt for himself, because he kind of feels like with a little bit more durability yesterday, he could have been closer to the front. I told him, I said, hey, you rode really well yesterday. There was no franticness involved. You looked very in control the whole time. And as he goes for the lead right now, stuffs it up underneath Tony going into turn 7. And now Elias has looked back. He's going to look back and see that JD is still there, that Cameron is still there, but the fight is only 4 of them. There's not 5. They've completely dropped Josh Herron. I'm just looking back to see if I see Josh come up over the crest. There he is now. So
you can just see Matthew Schultz, a much taller rider than Tony Elias. Tony's going for it on the brakes.
Yeah, just doesn't want to let him get away, Greg. We've seen this from Tony in the past, where he just wants to take the fight to these guys all the time, and they come up under the bridge.
Ooh, Tony took him real close to that
real
cone.
Tight. Yep. Look what it's done, though. It's allowed these guys big bump there for Schultz as they came through there. But JD Beach, look at him. I mean, Greg, he's got to feel so confident. This is his first race on Superbike, and look where he's at.
All right, so Schultz threw a shot at Tony. which in talking with Tony about his battle with Cameron yesterday, he said it took each of us 2 laps to figure each other out. Where we were strong, where we weren't. And that's the thing about Skoltz is Skoltz at this point, I think, would need to feel that he could get away from Tony, because you can't let Tony figure out what you're doing. He's such a quick study.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And now Tony, with the help of his board and looking over his shoulder in turn 7 after Matthew went past him, he knows the other 2 guys that are going to be there for, to battle with him. And he's just using that all for knowledge for him.
And then there's this guy, the number 1, hanging around at the back of this group, not pushing very hard.
He's not going to wear out his tires. He's just going to sit there and he's going to pace these guys. If he starts to see somebody creeping away, then he's going to start to look at things. You can see already. He did the same thing yesterday, Greg. Cameron went like 24.8 yesterday, I think, on like 3rd, 4th lap, and then just literally ran mostly behind the group, whatever the group was doing. And right now the race seems a little bit faster than yesterday. They're more consistently in the 25s early, and we'll see what this one is when they come by. Last time, 26.4 for Tony.
The 24.9 by the number 1 plate was the fastest one. Now 25, back to the 25.4s.
And that was simply because Matthew had gone underneath him in turn 7, so it just disrupted the pace by about a half to 3/4 of a second. But all other riders now are back into the 25s.
What I expect to see from Cameron Beaubier is, as you see, we're at the halfway point, so 11 laps to go. Beaubier's going to start making some moves if he's got it in him, or he's going to try to eke by JD Beach. The problem is that JD Beach is not one to lay over. I mean, to roll over, or lay down. He'll fight for every single position, and it doesn't matter. He's not thinking, oh, if I fight, I'm going to get a gap. And all he cares about is putting this thing on the podium.
But as long as he sees that JD is able to kind of keep the pace with these 2 in front, Cameron's probably pretty content to stay there right now. You can see he's got a little bit of pace out of turn 5. When they come through turn 5, you can see Cameron really draw up on the back of him. And but you look at him, Greg. He's just kind of hanging out and sitting there. He sees that Tony's not getting away. And all these guys are very, very heady racers in the sense that I think they all kind of trust each other that nobody's going to do anything crazy. And I think JD is just learning every lap on this Superbike.
Hey, if Tony likes to lead, you can't get away from him. Right, let him lead.
Yep, exactly right. And really, that's what it comes down to, is that Matthew's studying him right now. Matthew took a shot in turn 7 to let him know he was there.
Couple bike lengths between JD Beach and Matthew Skoltz. And Cameron's got to make a decision. If he doesn't think that JD is going to lose a 10th here and a 10th there, and if, I'm not saying Cameron Beaubier can do it. Like, it's not like he's just Cadillacing around. I mean, he's riding hard. But he's got to make the decision at some point, can JD hold on? Because now is where tire performance is going to start, playing into this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think Cameron's worried. You see how far back he is at JD right now as they were coming into here? Watch how that gap will close down as they exit this corner. He should be in our next shot. Excited to see he just kind of draws up on the back of him ever so slightly. JD did a good job of getting through there with these other 2. Be interested to see if JD has the power underneath him to draft up and past either one of the 2 bikes in front of him. I think the Yosh bike will be a little strong for him, but would love to see if he can get up behind Skoltz and draft on him at all. He's got a good run right now. Let's see if it gets closer as they get down to the kink here.
MotoAmerica rules at their finest for the EBC Brakes Superbike class. That's a factory Suzuki against a privateer Yamaha, and a factory Yamaha.
Yep.
And when they're running down the back straightaway, they look pretty equal.
Pretty close. JD had a little bit of a run on Matthew when they went through that fast kink at the end of the back straightaway, but I think JD is also doing the feel-out thing right now. He doesn't need to be right up behind Matthew. He can have that tiny little bit of gap. They're all kind of pacing each other again as they come across the line. Just the front 4 guys, all in the 25s. We got Josh Herron going through at 6, just behind, or 5th behind them, and he's a high 25 as Josh.
9 laps to go in this one. It's settled down at the front. This is the battle for the lead. Tony Elias, 24, Yoshimura Suzuki leading the way. Westby Racing Yamaha. Number 11 is Matthew Skoltz. That's the gold and black bike. Second one of your screen, just behind him on the blue and yellow Yamaha is number 95, JD Beach. That is on the Attack Performance Estenson Racing Yamaha. And then on that Monster Energy Yamalube Yamaha Factory Racing is the number 1, our series champion. There he is, Cameron Beaubier. From 11th on the grid yesterday. He missed Super Pole qualifying because of an issue with his clutch. Was able to take it to the race win.
Starting to see bikes move around a little bit more for sure there, Greg, out of turn 7, and you can see that gap, huh? And this might be the difference of where those tires are as well. The difference in tires and things.
In terms of like the setup from the extra soft from yesterday to today.
Yep.
And again, keep in mind that Attack Performance, that's their first time here at Road Atlanta with this motorcycle because they missed last year. So yesterday was a data gathering session for them, where now he'll be going, you know, Richard Stamboli and the crew will be going to racetracks they're more familiar with from this point forward.
I think you're going to start to see, probably going to start to see Cameron try to do something with JD in the next lap or so. There's just getting to be the tiniest of gaps right now. You know, JD's still hanging in there, 25.5. It's weird what 2/10 looks like on TV to me. But if the gap starts to get just a little bigger, Cameron might try to do something here. JD's actually pretty good up in this little section.
I mean, the pace is hectic.
25.3. 25.3 is a lot faster than yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron did a 24.9 back on lap number 8 as the fastest lap of the race. So that's only 0.4 of a second off what they're doing. As we notch back here, Jason, who are we seeing?
Well, we see David Anthony just gone past our screen, then Kyle Wyman, Cam Peterson. Great to see Cam Peterson back. And he's getting a good look at that Ducati right now. Jeff May, just right behind them, I believe, is running in this group.
I want to make a comment. You see the wings that are on the front fairing of Kyle Wyman's Ducati V4R. The impact of those wings down the back straightaway, Jason, is pretty significant. At 160 miles per hour, those wings create 70 pounds of downforce on the front end.
Oh, Cameron Peterson lost the front there. Sorry, Greg, didn't mean to interrupt you. And Jeff May saw that as well and sat up real quick as also.
One of the things that allows Kyle Wyman's Ducati is when they come up over the back, as they kink over the crest of the hill on the back straightaway, he can hold it flat and he doesn't have to worry about traction control or anything because there's so much downforce on the front of that Ducati.
Yeah, that's Kyle's got to be happy to have that bike underneath him, and I know it's only going to get better. Now, we saw JD Beach. He's responded pretty big on the last quarter of that lap, last half of that lap. There was a gap going down through the S's, and it isn't really there anymore. So JD is right there trying to go with these other two guys still. Where are they at that lap? 25.7, 25.5, 25.4 for JD. He was the quickest in the group that last lap.
Now, I mentioned, Jason, that there are different maps available for these riders. So on board, they can make adjustments as they see fit. I was talking with Matthew Skultz about it, and I said, look, where can you actually mess with the map? Where can you change it? And he says, strategically, we only do it on the back straightaway or on the front straightaway because you can only change the map if nothing is working. You see something hanging off Tony's bike.
Looks like a sticker or something.
Yeah, a sticker or something flopping off. So if there was a map change that the Westby Racing rider wanted to do, it would be in this part of the racetrack when you're not using any of the traction control or any of the wheelie control. So now would be the spot if you wanted to make a map change.
Yep. Well, yeah, this down this back straightaway. I'm interested to see why Matthew's looking back midway down that back straight. I mean, it's normally a spot where you've got your head down. He did look back coming out of turn 6 and saw these guys behind him.
This is where setup of the motorcycle makes a big difference with the tires underneath them. We did see different riders with different setups coming in and had different abuse of that Dunlop rear tire. And so those that set it up, have more experience, can set it up for longer distances and have more tire underneath them. That might be something that Matthew's feeling that we can't see just yet. Sometimes it's a look over the shoulder, who's by me, because who's going to attack me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's always nice to know, but I think that they all know each other so well, and they know, they don't know how JD rides in Superbike, but they know JD well enough to know that JD's not going to do anything too crazy. There's a lot of respect between these front 4 guys, no question.
It's early in the season, but right part of your screen, you see the live championship points. If it finished this way right now, Tony Elias would hand over the points lead to Cameron Beaubier as we head to round 2 at COTA next weekend.
Cameron's just starting to look to me like he's starting to think about maybe trying to make a pass here soon, Greg. Just by his riding and how he looks, and he's still behind. What do we got to have 5 laps to go when they come through this time?
We're getting to a part of the racetrack where Cameron and his crew wanted to try something this morning, like you said, and that was they wanted the motorcycle to be able to squirt a little bit better out of turn 7 and turn number 12.
JD got in there a little bit deep, Greg. He got into turn 10. You can see he just got in there a little deep. It's going to allow Cameron to have a look as they come into turn 12. And that was all set up because JD just got off the end of the back straightaway. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Greg. When they were coming in, I could see in the rear view out the back of Tony's bike, JD just got in there a little bit deep, so he's going to have Cameron to tow him back up to those front 2 guys.
Well, now we're going to see what Beaubier has with clear track in front of him. If he's been holding something back with, like you're saying, about 4.5 laps remaining in this one. It's Tony Elias, number 24, leading the way from number 11, Matthew Skoltz.
Matthew's bike still looks so good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, his bike is not moving around, and you know, he just looks very comfortable sitting there on that Westby bike. And look at Cameron. He went through those S's fast. I'm looking up on my screen right now, 33.4 for Cameron Beaubier through that first split, purple on our screen. He's been sitting there, Greg. I could see it in the last lap that something in his posture had changed just a little bit, and he realizes that he's got 2 guys that are running very close to the same pace, and Matthew Skoltz looks very strong today. So he's not just going to have to deal with one rider. I think he's going to have to deal with both these guys. But you can see, Greg, now he's more concerned. Like he's going to go to the inside of Skoltz. As they come down the back straightaway, he's going to draft by him. And now Cameron Beaubier is ready to start running his race as he's right up behind the back of Tony Elias.
He's never greedy, Cameron Beaubier, is he?
No.
It wasn't like he went by Skoltz and then said, okay, I'm just going to late break it.
He's got himself in the spot, though, that he wants to be in. He's got the guy in front of him that he wants to have. He doesn't want to have anything crazy happen in front of him, and he wants to take all the risk out by having 2 guys in front. And so let's see what this lap is. 24.887, fastest lap of the race.
Oh, Cameron.
And now he realizes, okay, I have 4 laps to go. You can see this is drafting down the back straightaway. It's a big commitment to go underneath people there as you go down that back straightaway, because if that person starts to move in just a little bit, it can get a little bit tight. But now Cameron's probably, I wouldn't think he's going to go past Tony just yet. I was wrong about that yesterday. He might try to do something with him in turn 10. But don't forget, yesterday we saw him do something with 3 to go, and Tony made a mistake 3 corners later. And that really did help Cameron. Now, Tony's led the entire race. Matthew looks over the back of his shoulder just a little bit to see if JD's still back there, which he is. Lost a little bit of time.
I don't know. Talking to both these riders, I just think, you know, with what Tony Elias told me earlier today, that once Cameron got around him yesterday, a couple laps, they both were able to study each other. Part of me is thinking to myself, if there was no Matthew Skoltz in the mix right now or JD Beach, you just hang back and then make your move on the last lap, because Tony's so smart and has so much experience. If Cam does it too early, I was looking at the right wrist. I wanted to see if Cameron.
Look at Matthew. See, this is the problem that Cameron's got today that he didn't have yesterday.
What I was saying,
He's got 2 guys today instead of 1, and that can change how strategies go. Now, he's going to come by this time. He's got 3 to go, and it looks like he's just trying to get down the inside. And look at JD's trying his best to get back on the back of these guys. Matthew really gets tucked in nicely behind that fairing. When he was coming down that straight, look how tucked in he is, Greg. And there's nothing hanging out. That the Westby bike looks really fast, and he's able to at least get into the draft of Cameron and then pull out at the end of the back straightaway. And you can see, eased himself up underneath. The second the rider in front of you cuts over to the right a little bit to open up that entry, if you've been drafting, it gives you a place to just slide up underneath someone. But I don't think either one of them can draft the Yosh bike, do you?
I don't know. I think Cameron's got a shot if he could have some type of really killer double draft at this point. But then the question becomes, do you have the gearing in your motorcycle to be able to handle that double draft and not bounce it off the rev limiter as well?
Yeah, well, Cameron's going to go this lap. He's going to definitely try to do something. Matthew gets a tremendous drive out of turn 7. He is trying so hard to get into the draft of that Yoshimura Suzuki just in front of him. Now we got some traffic I just saw. But see, Matthew did so good out of turn 7, but Cameron's going to try. Nope, I don't think he's going to be able to do it there. So, got a couple guys up in front of these 3 that we're looking at.
Out of 10B.
All that stuff comes into play.
Oh, we just heard that possibly Kyle Wyman crashed. So Kyle Wyman, late in this race, unfortunately for him, down in this one. Only set of bodywork they have, too, on that Ducati. But we're getting into lap traffic, and it looks like Tony's trying to pull the pin.
Oh, man.
He knows.
Good for Max Flinders. Max Flinders obviously got the flags and got right out of the way. Tremendous effort by him doing that.
Jake Gagne's out of this one as well.
I saw that just now, Greg. I did see Jake going down the board a little bit. JD lost some time for sure. They should be able to. Oh, there's Kyle. Such a bummer. Not exactly sure where that is. Look at Greg.
I don't know if he's
Here's
down.
what happens. Cameron has gone through.
Yep.
Now they're both going to try to make quick work of Samuel Trepanier here as he goes underneath him in turn 7. Oh, he's not able to make it, Greg,
no,
and that's it.
That could be it.
Yep, and now Sam's trying to get out of the way the best he can, but that really...
Oh, no.
JD's loving it. JD Beach is loving it because it's bringing those guys back in.
Oh, wow. Tony has no idea. He's just got his head down.
Yep. I'm not sure if there was blue flags out or not in 6 and 7, Greg. I just don't know. But that is the difference. And we've seen this before. I already know what's going to happen. Our screen's going to light up purple, purple, purple as they go into this last lap. Because Cameron Beaubier is going to do everything he can to still try to run Tony down. There's no question in my mind.
You want to see a difference in motorcycle attitude as he whips this thing into turn 1. Cameron Beaubier desperate on this final lap to try to reel in, take any time on Tony Elias.
But Matthew's going to go back underneath him.
So that'll foil the plans of Beaubier. So these two now, barring a mistake from Tony Elias, are going to have to scrap it out for 2nd and 3rd and 4th because JD Beach now on the fender of Beaubier, who just made a bit of a mistake.
Yep. And this is, see, if you have a plan and you're trying to have your plan work, when you start catching those back markers and things, it becomes hard. And the back marker definitely had a big play in what happened in this race.
And that's where Tony
separated this field up. Yep.
Tony saw those back markers coming, and he just put the hammer down. Can JD Beach, does he have anything left underneath him to even make a bid for 3rd spot? Onto the back straightaway they go. Privateer Yamaha versus factory Yamaha Superbike in the EBC Superbike class. The final lap of this race. Tony Elias looks like he has this one in hand. No one near him to get a draft. And Cameron Beaubier, he's got to make this move. He's got to.
He's got to have it go.
Schultz tries to go to the inside and pinch it off. Nope. Schultz holding on the brakes.
Solid effort there from Matthew as they got down into that turn 10, 10A. Now he's got to block the inside here. Even if he blocks the inside like he's doing, Greg, see him move over to the right? He just gave Cameron no options of where to go. Tremendous ride by Matthew Schultz.
Coming across the line, it's going to be Tony Elias with his first win of 2019. In 2nd spot, Matthew Schultz on the Westby Racing Yamaha, just ahead of factory star Cameron Beaubier.
Yeah, great job there. You can see Tony, he just had a little baby boy.
He
so
sure
that's
did.
Probably going to be towards him.
That means another month of diapers.
Yeah, that's going to be first win as a dad is what that is. So tremendous effort from Tony. I think he's going to look back on this race, and he ran the kind of race that he wants to run. He was able to control the pace for the majority of it. But today he had a partner to go with him, and that's Matthew Schultz, and it kind of foiled some of the plans for Cameron. And then, of course, when they got to the back markers, that really hurt Cameron's chance. But take nothing away from Matthew Schultz. He rode amazing today. And that's going to be a big boost of confidence for Chuck Cicchetto and all the guys from Westby Racing.
What a job they have done to get brand new electronics, Magneti Marelli system, the rules of MotoAmerica playing into it, getting maps. We talk about maps all the time, which is just too complicated for my pay grade, but getting that system, Herschel, their guy down there that they got, who's been working on that Magneti Marelli since the mid-2000s, doing a great job. That's
Looks like he's looking for Kyle Wyman. If this is Kyle Wyman that he picks up, Kyle Wyman crashed going down the hill, which is a very fast crash. It is. So he's picking him up, Greg. That's the bottom of the S's. So Kyle must have lost the front.
Does he look like he crashed?
Oh, yeah.
On the left side?
Well, I hope he didn't. I hope the bike broke. But
I'm looking at, it looks like the left.
It would have been the right side that he crashed in going down the hill. And these two guys, it looks like Jeff May. Was he riding around with Kyle, or did something happen? Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, anyways.
I don't know. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, you can see that he definitely tipped over. We're going to have a chance to maybe look at that.
Now I'm thinking,
oh man,
so we got to go to Texas in a few days.
Oh, he ran off the track. He ran off. Oh, he had to just basically jump off the thing. You get in that grass, it's so wet.
That's why.
And he got wide, really wide. You know what happened, Greg? I'll bet you anything, he lost the front a little bit at the top and tried to get he got the bike, probably saved it, and it went into that air fence nicely. So hopefully the bike didn't get too damaged. And here's Tony giving Kyle a ride back. But when you get into that no man's land on that wet grass, it's especially with that Georgia red clay.
Georgia clay.
It is so slippery.
You'll never get him out of those leathers either.
No, it's just a bummer.
But it didn't look like the bike ended up too bad.
Agreed. Let's hope that Kyle's bike is okay and they got a week, and I know it'll be ready for. He's got great guys down there helping him.
Look, I'm just saying, I hope that the wings that we were talking about earlier made it out okay.
Yep.
I've heard rumor that those things are about $800 a piece.
A piece, huh?
Yeah, you want to be part of that KWR Army, help support his program.
That guy
no
out,
question about it. All right, so back to Victory circle we go with Tony Elias, Matthew Skolton, Cameron Beaubier.
He's frustrated. You can see Cameron's frustrated right now, and he just had nowhere to go. In fact, it almost looked like he hit him, but hit the back marker, that is.
So Tony Elias sharing some. All right, so there's the Ducati of Kyle
it's not
Wyman.
too bad. It's not too bad. I know Gary Dean's seen a lot worse.
Yeah, sure. That tank's another one that you want to make sure that the tank made it out all right.
Yep. Yeah.
As we head to Dakota too, you know, the Ducati MotoGP team will be there, and from what I understand, might be paying a visit to Kyle Wyman.
Yep.
Paolo Ciabatti to talk a little bit with
great.
Kyle about it.
He's done a really good job this weekend.
So Tony Elias sharing the celebration with the fans. So Tony finally breaks, or Cameron really broke Tony's streak of double wins to start his season in each MotoAmerica season that he's raced here. So Cameron with race 1 victory, and then Tony Elias. JD Beach will finish 4th. Josh Herrin will finish in the 5th spot. Jake Lewis on the M4X Star Suzuki finishing 6th. David Anthony, who was 5th yesterday, will collect good points in 7th. Jeff May in 8th. We'll have more on the other side of this break. We'll find out how Tony's race went from Hannah, so don't go anywhere. Today's coverage has been brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the 2019 MotoAmerica Championship. Let's get right down to Hannah, who has our race winner.
I'm here with Tony Elias. Tony, you led the majority of that race, if not the entire thing. The guys were still putting some serious pressure on you, but you pulled it off. How does it feel to win your first race as a dad?
It's been amazing. Everybody was telling me, oh, you will see, you will suffer. Probably you will lose some balls on the track. But I think I gain balls. This guy is giving me extra motivation, good power. So we are working so good. My team did an amazing job this winter. The bike is good. Just yesterday, everything was not as I planned at the beginning. And today it's been like I was planned. So I started really good. JD was so strong, but then I was trying to lead all part of the race. Behind us was Cameron coming so fast, faster than yesterday. Was super dangerous, but I knew behind was a great battle, also dangerous. So I tried to avoid that situation, and finally we took the win. I'm so happy. Start like this. Yesterday I saved 20 points, could be 0. So 20 and 25, it's amazing. Let's continue like this. Will be super long and super difficult, more than last year. MotoAmerica, it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be a great battles every race, and will be super difficult. We are not quite. Even Cam, even me, Herrin, will be super tough.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Tony Elias.
Well, Jason, that is the talk. Sometimes when racers have children, they think, oh, I've got to be around now. Others say, I've got to get on the gas like Tony and pay the bills. And that's exactly what he's saying he's doing.
Yeah, no question. Anytime Tony gets attacked, he attacks right back. That's one of the things. And we've also seen Tony fall back in races and then charge towards the end. Here he went underneath Matthew down in turn 10A when Matthew had taken the lead. And Tony was able to get back past him. And really, he controlled the pace most of the race. I don't think his victory today tells the entire story. I think that we were kind of waiting for a big finish at the end.
Yeah.
But Tony got through the back markers the way he needed to go through. Let's get back down to Hannah.
I've got our second place finisher, Matthew Skoltz. Matt, really strong, consistent laps out of you today, putting a lot of pressure on Tony. Tell us a little bit about the battle at the front.
The start wasn't the greatest for me, you know, but I kind of knew that running the 097 tire that I could run a consistent pace throughout. You know, yesterday the race didn't end off too well for us, so I was a little bit angry, and I was riding with a little bit of vengeance today. Tony was very, very quick coming off of corner 7 down the back straight, so it was a little bit hard to pass him. But he had a really good pace up front, so I knew that if I kind of followed him, that we could sort of pull a gap on the rest of the field. I saw that Cameron Beaubier and JD Beach, they were right there the whole race. But overall, the boys have been working so hard. You know, yesterday we kind of saw where we could make the bike a little bit better. So, you know, overnight they just dug in, worked hard, and made it so much easier to ride today. I cannot thank the Westby boys. You know, that was absolutely awesome, and you know, we're just going to get stronger from here. And I'd just like to thank Living Good Motors, SBS Brakes, and Superbike. I'm Unlimited. Without those guys, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you to everyone here and everyone who supports me back home.
Great job. Thank you, Matt.
This is the weapon that he needs, Jason.
Yeah, but it goes, again, back to the team. You heard him say his team has given him a great weapon to fight with. I think that's going to do a lot for his confidence. As you can see, this is when the white flag was waving, and he was able to peel it back up underneath Cameron Beaubier as they headed down into turn 1. And at a track like this, it's fast, to beat a privateer team and show that you can run with the factories, as did the number 95 on the left of our screen. For both those teams, I think it's going to be a big boost for them as they head to VIR. Let's go one more time down to Hannah.
I'm here with Cameron Beaubier. This guy fought his way from the 11th spot on the grid to the podium, not once, but twice this weekend. Tell us how you did it.
Yeah, that one was pretty tough. I was struggling pretty bad out there. I made a couple changes this morning that we didn't get to evaluate this morning in warm-up, so we just kind of gambled in the race, thinking we were going in the right direction, and struggled a little bit out there, but those guys are riding really good. JD, Maddie, Tony, they were riding the wheels off those things. Yeah, you know, it's a bummer to kind of got held up there a little with the lapper with Maddie there at the end, that last lap, and that was pretty frustrating. But, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take good points out of here. We're sitting a lot better than we have been the last couple of years. So hats off to my Monster Energy, Yamaha team. They've been working so hard. We had a good off season, and really just enjoying going racing with these guys. So Bell, Alpine Stars, and Man Above for keeping me safe, and yeah, move on to Coda.
Our third place finisher, defending champion Cameron Beaubier.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it. We knew it. We saw it.
Well, he said something very truthful, and that is he's leaving here with a lot more points than he has the last couple of years.
True.
We've seen Cameron have a lot of issues, and this is where it happened, right there in turn 7. And it was just enough to balk up this race for second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
And but he's walking out of here with a win and a third, coming from the fourth row in both races. And so, again, Cameron's very positive, and he's got a bucket load of points as they head to Coda next weekend.
And you know who that didn't happen to? The guy who was leading the race.
Exactly right.
Tony Elias made sure he was leading when we got to lap traffic. And as you see, that Yoshimura Suzuki sitting in that number 1 spot for a reason. Great job as our podium celebrations will be going on in a few moments. Until then, we'll take a break. When we come back, more coverage of Road Atlanta, MotoAmerica on Fox Sports.